Captain Bora stood on the bridge of the whispered dawn, watching the stars slowly fade around them. 3 months ago, those same stars had been bright and full of promise. Now they looked sick and dim, like dying candles in a dark room. The whispered dawn was not like the metal ships that other species built. It was alive. The walls breathed softly, and warm light flowed through veins that ran like rivers under the surface. The ship had been grown, not built, from special organisms that the Valeth people had worked with for thousands of years. These bioships were beautiful and peaceful, just like the Valeth themselves. But now, the ship was dying. "Captain, navigator," Tay called from her station. Her voice was weak and tired. "The energy readings are getting worse. The anomaly is pulling more power from our biosystems." Bora closed her eyes for a moment. The anomaly was a strange space storm that had trapped their entire fleet. It was like a hungry monster that ate energy from everything around it. Their 12 bioships were slowly being drained of life, and there was nowhere to run. "How much time do we have?" Bora asked. Chief biosynthesist Minho looked up from his workstation. His hands were covered in a green liquid that leaked from damaged biocircuits. "Maybe 2 weeks, Captain. 3 if we shut down all non-essential systems." 2 weeks. 50,000 Valeth people were counting on them to find a way out. Children, families, scientists who had come out here to explore new worlds and learn about the universe. Now they were all trapped in this deadly space storm. Bora walked to the main viewing screen. Outside, she could see the other ships in there. Fleet, the Gentle Current, Morning Bloom, Soft Voice, all of them beautiful bioships that glowed with their own inner light. But that light was getting dimmer every day. The Valeth had always been a peaceful people. They did not build weapons or fight wars. Their ships were made for exploration and discovery, not for surviving dangerous situations like this. They grew their technology instead of building it with metal and circuits. It was a better way, a cleaner way, but it was not helping them now. "Captain," Tay said again, "I have been studying the anomaly patterns. There might be a way through, but it would be very dangerous." Bora turned to look at her young navigator. Tay was one of the brightest officers on the ship, good with numbers and star charts. If anyone could find a way out, it would be her. "Show me," Bora said. Tay pointed to the screen, where a map of the anomaly appeared. It looked like a huge storm in space, with swirling colors of red and purple. Lightning like energy bolts shot through it in random directions. "Here," Tay said, pointing to a spot near the center. "There is a small opening. If we could get all 12 ships through at the same time, we might escape. But the energy levels there are very high. Our bioships might not survive the trip." Minho shook his head. "The ships are already weak. Pushing them through that much energy would kill them for sure. We would lose everyone." Bora stared at the map. It was an impossible choice. They could try to escape and probably die quickly, or they could wait here and die slowly. Either way, 50,000 people would be lost. "There has to be another way," she said. But deep down, she knew there was not. The Valeth had tried everything. They had sent messages asking for help, but no one was close enough to reach them in time. They had tried to repair their ships, but the anomaly kept draining them faster than they could fix the damage. They had even tried to study the anomaly itself, hoping to understand it, but it was unlike anything they had ever seen. The bridge was quiet, except for the soft humming of the biosystems. Everyone knew they were running out of options. The other ship captains had been asking Bora for orders, but what orders could she give? "How do you tell 50,000 people that there is no way out?" "Captain," the communications officer called out, "I am getting something strange on the long range." "Sensors." Bora walked over to the communications station. "What kind of strange?" "Ships, Captain, a whole fleet of them. But they are moving very fast, faster than should be possible in this area." "Show me," Bora said. The main screen changed to show the sensor readings. There were definitely ships out. There may be 20 or 30 of them. But they were moving through space in a way that made no sense. The anomaly should have been slowing them down or draining their power, but these ships seemed to be getting stronger as they got closer. "What kind of ships are those?" Tay asked. Minho studied the readings carefully. "I do not know. They are made of metal and other hard materials. No biocomponents at all. How can they survive in this energy field?" Bora felt a small spark of hope, but she tried not to let it grow too big. "Can we talk to them?" "I am trying, Captain," the communications officer said. "But I do not recognize their signals. This is not any language or communication method in our databases." The unknown ships were getting closer. On the screen, Bora could see them more clearly now. They were nothing like Valeth bioships. These ships looked hard and strong, made of metal and strange materials that gleamed in the anomaly's light. They had sharp edges and bright lights, and they moved with purpose and power. "Captain," Tay said quietly, "what if they are not here to help? What if they are here to attack us?" It was a good question. The Valeth had always been lucky to live in a peaceful part of space, but they knew that not all species were friendly. These strange ships could be pirates or invaders coming to take advantage of their weakness. But Bora looked at her dying ship and her scared crew, and she made a decision. "Keep trying to contact them," she told the communications officer. "We have to take the chance. We have nothing left to lose." The unknown ships were very close now, close enough that Bora could see details on their hulls. They had symbols and markings she did not recognize, and weapons that looked powerful enough to destroy bioships easily. But they were not firing. They were not acting like enemies. "Captain," the communications officer said with excitement in her voice, "I am getting a response. They are trying to talk to us." The main screen flickered, and then a face appeared. It was a face unlike any the Valeth had ever seen. The creature had 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth, but the features were different from Valeth faces. The skin was a different color, and there was no sign of the gentle bioluminescence that all Valeth had. But the eyes were kind, and when the creature spoke, even though the words were strange, the voice sounded concerned and helpful. "This is Admiral Junho of the human fleet," the creature said. "We can see that your ships are in trouble. Do you need help?" Bora stared at the screen. Humans. She had never heard of this species before, but they were offering help to complete. Strangers. In the Valeth's 3 months of fear and despair, no one had ever said those words before. "Do you need help?" For the first time in weeks, Captain Bora smiled. Admiral Junho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, looking at the strange alien ships caught in the energy storm. He had seen many things during his 30 years in space, but nothing quite like this. The alien vessels looked alive, like huge sea creatures swimming through the stars. They glowed with soft, beautiful light, but that light was getting weaker. "Sir," Dr. Hyun said, walking up beside him, "I have never seen ships like these before. Look at the sensor readings. They appear to be biological constructs. Living ships." Junho nodded. Dr. Hyun was the best xenobiologist in the human fleet. And if she said the ships were alive, then they were alive. That explained why they were dying in the anomaly. The energy storm was literally draining the life out of them. "How many people are on those ships?" Junho asked. "Hard to tell exactly." "Sir," Engineer Seok called from his station. "But based on the size and life sign readings, maybe 50,000 individuals. 50,000. Junho felt his chest tighten. That was more people than lived in most human colonies, and they were all going to die unless someone helped them. "Sir," his communications officer said, "we are getting a response to our message." The main screen flickered, and a face appeared. It was clearly alien. The skin was pale blue and seemed to glow softly from within. The eyes were larger than human eyes, and there were small patterns of light, that moved across the creature's forehead. But despite the differences, Junho could see intelligence and desperation in those eyes. "I am Captain Bora of the Valeth Fleet," the alien said. The words were strange at first, but the ship's computer was already working to translate them. "We have been trapped here for 3 months. Our ships are dying. We do not know if you are friend or enemy, but we are running out of time." Junho stepped forward. "Captain Bora, I am Admiral Junho of the Human Space Navy. We are friends. We want to help you." He could see surprise on the alien captain's face. "Help? But you do not know us. Why would you help strangers?" The question caught Junho off guard for a moment. Why would they help? It seemed so obvious to him that he had never really thought about it. When someone was in trouble, you helped them. That was just what humans did. "Because you need help," he said simply. "That is enough." Dr. Hyun moved closer to the screen, her scientific curiosity taking over. "Captain Bora, we can see that your ships are biological in nature. The energy anomaly is draining their life force, is that correct?" "Yes," Bora replied. "Our bioships need life energy to survive. This anomaly feeds on that energy. We have tried everything we know, but we cannot escape." Engineer Seok was already studying his readings. "Admiral, our ships actually work better in high-energy environments like this. Our fusion cores and quantum drives use this kind of energy as fuel. We could survive here for months." Junho smiled. It was just like humans to build ships that thrived in the exact conditions that were killing these aliens. Human engineering was not always pretty, but it was tough and adaptable. "Dr. Hyun," Junho said, "is there a way we can help their ships survive long enough to get them out of here?" Dr. Hyun was already thinking, her mind racing through possibilities. "Maybe. If we could create some kind of hybrid system, combining our technology with theirs. Our mechanical life support systems might be able to keep their bioships alive." "That sounds impossible," Captain Bora said from the screen. "Our technologies are completely different. How could metal machines work with living ships?" "We will not know until we try," Seok said. "Admiral, I would like permission to take a team over to their ships and see what we can do." Junho did not hesitate. "Permission granted. Take whoever you need." Within an hour, human transport ships were flying between the fleets. The Valeth watched in amazement as the human vessels moved easily through the energy storm that was killing their own ships. The human ships looked rough and industrial compared to the elegant bioships, but they were clearly built to handle anything space could throw at them. Seok led the first team aboard the Whispered Dawn. The moment he stepped inside, he knew he was in something special. The walls were warm and soft, and gentle light flowed through them like blood through veins. It was beautiful, but he could see the problems immediately. "The biocircuits are failing," he told Minho, the Valeth chief biosynthesist. "They cannot handle the energy drain from the anomaly." Minho nodded sadly. "We have tried to strengthen them, but biological systems have limits. We can only ask so much of living tissue." "What if we do not ask the biological systems to do everything?" Seok suggested. "What if we use mechanical systems to help them?" Minho looked confused. "How would that work?" Seok pulled out a small device from his toolkit. It was a basic human life support unit, designed to keep air and heat flowing in damaged ship sections. "This machine could take over some of the work that your biosystems are doing. It would give them a chance to rest and recover." "But how would a metal machine connect to living tissue?" Minho asked. That was the big question. Seok studied the biocircuits carefully. They were unlike anything humans had ever built. But all life forms had certain things in common. They needed energy, they needed nutrients, and they needed waste removal. Maybe there was a way to connect human machines to alien biology. Meanwhile, Dr. Hyun was working with Navigator Tay to understand the Valeth language and culture. She was amazed by how different the Valeth were from humans. They were gentle and peaceful, preferring to grow their technology rather than build it. They saw their ships as partners, not just tools. Your people are very different from us, Tay observed. You build strong ships for war and conflict. We grow gentle ships for exploration and peace. Different can be good, Dr. Hyun replied. Maybe your gentleness and our strength can work together. As the hours passed, more human teams boarded the Valeth ships. The humans were amazed by the living technology, while the Valeth were impressed by the rugged reliability of human machines. Despite the language barriers and cultural differences, both species found ways to communicate and work together. Admiral Junho stayed in constant contact with Captain Bora, sharing information and coordinating the rescue efforts. He could see that she was a good leader, someone who cared deeply about her people. She reminded him of the best human captains he had known. Admiral, Bora said during one of their conversations, why are your people willing to risk so much for strangers? Your crews are putting themselves in danger to help us. Junho thought about the question. Captain, my species has a saying, we are all in this together. The universe is a big, dangerous place. If we do not help each other, who will? Bora was quiet for a moment. The Valeth have always believed in peace and cooperation, but we have never met a species that would risk everything for people they just met. Well, Junho said with a smile, now you have. As the day wore on, Seok and his teams made progress connecting human machines to Valeth biosystems. It was not easy work, and there were many failures, but slowly they began to find solutions. The key was not to replace the biological systems, but to support them. It is working, Minho called out as one of the first hybrid connections came online. The biocircuits are stabilizing, but even as they celebrated this small victory, everyone knew it was just the beginning. They had proven that human and Valeth technology could work together, but there were 12 ships in the fleet and 50,000 lives at stake. The real work was just starting. And outside, the energy anomaly continued to swirl and grow as if it knew that someone was trying to escape its deadly embrace. The work was harder than anyone had expected. For 3 days straight, human and Valeth teams worked together to install the hybrid life support systems. Every bioship was different, like a unique living creature, and each one needed a special solution. Pilot Leah flew her small transport ship between the fleets, carrying people and equipment through the dangerous energy storm. The anomaly tried to grab her ship with invisible hands of force, but she was too quick and too skilled. She had been flying in dangerous places since she was 18 years old, and nothing scared her. Leah too indomitable, she called over the radio as she dodged another energy bolt. I have 10 more Valeth engineers ready for transport to the gentle current. The storm is getting worse, but I can make it. Negative, Leah, Admiral Junho replied. The energy readings are too high. Wait for it to calm down. Sir, with respect, those people do not have time to wait. The gentle current is in bad shape. They need help now. Junho sighed. Leah was one of his best pilots, but she took too many risks. She would fly through a black hole if it meant saving lives. Be careful, pilot. We cannot afford to lose you. Do not worry about me, Admiral. I am harder to kill than I look. Leah pushed her ship forward into the storm. The energy waves hit her shields like giant hammers, but she kept flying. Behind her, the 10 Valeth engineers held on tight. They had never seen anyone fly like this human woman. She seemed to dance with danger, always one step ahead of disaster. On the gentle current, engineer Seok and biosynthesist Wu worked side by side to connect a human power unit to the ship's main biocircuit network. Wu was young for a Valeth, only about 30 years old, but she understood living systems better than anyone Seok had ever met. The biocircuits are like a nervous system, Wu explained as they worked. Each one carries information and energy to different parts of the ship. If we can connect your machines to the main network, they can help carry the load. Seok nodded, studying the glowing biocircuits with his scanner. In human ships, we use backup systems for everything. If one part fails, another part takes over. Maybe we can create backup biocircuits using a mix of your technology and ours. It was delicate work. The biocircuits were alive, and they could be hurt or killed if handled wrong. Sayok had to learn to work gently, more gently than any human engineer had ever worked before. Meanwhile, Wu had to learn to trust machines that seemed cold and harsh compared to the warm living systems she knew. "Try now," Sayok said, connecting the last wire. Wu placed her hands on the biocircuit network and felt the ship respond. The gentle current was still weak, but it was no longer dying. The human machines were working like artificial hearts, pumping life back into the ship's systems. "It is working," she said with wonder in her voice. "The ship feels stronger." But their celebration was cut short when Commander Huan called over the radio. "All teams, we have a problem. The anomaly just surged again. It is pulling more energy than before." Across the fleet, the hybrid systems started to struggle. The human machines were strong, but even they had limits. Several bioships sent out emergency calls as their new life support systems began to fail. Admiral Junho made a hard decision. "All human personnel, prepare for full integration. We are going to put human crew members on every Valeth ship to operate the hybrid systems manually." Captain Bora was shocked when she heard this plan. "Admiral, you cannot ask your people to stay on our dying ships. If the systems fail, they will die with us." "Captain," Junho replied calmly, "my people knew the risks when they volunteered. No one is being forced to stay. But when the call went out for volunteers, hundreds of human crew members stepped forward. Engineers, medics, pilots, even senior officers who should have been evacuated first. They all wanted to help. Dr. Hyun was one of the first to volunteer. "I want to stay on the Whispered Dawn with Captain Bora's crew," she said. "They need someone who understands both human and Valeth biology." "Dr. Hyun," Admiral Junho said, "you are too valuable to risk. If something happens to you, sir, if we do not take this risk, 50,000 people will die. That is not acceptable." Junho looked around the bridge at his crew. He saw the same determination in every face. These were good people, brave people, and they had made their choice. "Very well," he said, "begin the integration." Within hours, human crew members were living and working on every Valeth bioship. It was strange for both species. The humans had to learn to live in warm breathing ships that felt more like giant animals than machines. The Valeth had to get used to having aliens on their ships, aliens who worked with loud, sparking machines instead of quiet, gentle biosystems. But somehow, it worked. The humans brought their mechanical expertise and their never-give-up attitude. The Valeth brought their understanding of living systems and their peaceful wisdom. Together, they created something neither species could have built alone. Pilot Leah found herself assigned to the Morning Bloom, working with a young Valeth pilot named Kang. At first, Kang was afraid of her. Human pilots had a reputation for being wild and reckless. "Do not worry," Leah told him with a grin. "I will teach you some human flying tricks. By the time we get out of here, you will be flying like you were born to do it." Kang was not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but he was willing to learn. On the Whispered Dawn, Dr. Hyun worked with Navigator Tae to understand how bioships navigated through space. Valeth navigation was based on feeling the flow of energy and life through the galaxy, very different from human star charts and computers. "Your people see space as numbers and measurements," Tae observed. "We see it as a living thing, with currents and tides like an ocean." "Maybe both ways." "All right," Dr. Hun suggested. "Maybe space is both a machine and a living thing." As the teams worked together, they began to understand each other better. The humans learned that the Valeth were not weak or helpless. They were just different. They had spent thousands of years learning to work with life instead of against it. The Valeth learned that humans were not violent or crude. They were just determined to survive and protect others. Engineer Seok and biosynthesist Wu became especially close friends. They spent long hours working together, sharing ideas and learning from each other. Seok taught Wu about human engineering principles, while Wu showed him how to work with living systems. "Your machines are very strong," Wu said as they tested another hybrid system. "But they are also very lonely. They work by themselves, with no connection to other machines." Valeth biosystems are different, Seok observed. They all work together like parts of one big organism. That is beautiful, but it also means if one part gets sick, the whole system can die. "Maybe the best solution is a mix of both," Wu suggested. "Strong individual machines that can also work together as a team." It was a good idea, and they began working on new designs that combined human independence with Valeth cooperation. But even as the teams made progress, the situation was getting worse. The energy anomaly was growing stronger, and long-range sensors detected something troubling. The storm was not natural. It was artificial, created by some kind of ancient technology. Commander Huan was the first to figure it out. He was studying the anomaly patterns when he noticed something strange in the readings. "Admiral," he called over the radio, "I think this anomaly is some kind of weapon. The energy patterns are too regular to be natural." Admiral Junho felt a chill run down his spine. If the anomaly was a weapon, that meant someone or something had created it. And if it was designed to trap and kill ships, then they were all in much more danger than they had thought. The race to save the Valeth fleet had just become something much bigger and much more dangerous. The discovery changed everything. Commander Huan worked through the night, studying the anomaly with every sensor the human fleet had. What he found was both amazing and terrifying. "It is definitely artificial," he reported to Admiral Junho. "The energy patterns follow mathematical sequences that do not exist in nature. This is a weapon system, probably millions of years old." Dr. Hyun joined the emergency meeting from the whispered dawn. Her face on the screen looked tired but determined. "I have been working with the Valeth scientists. They have records of other ships that disappeared in this area over the past 1,000 years. This weapon has been killing people for a very long time." Captain Bora spoke up from her bridge. "Our databases show at least 40 different fleets that entered this space and were never seen again. We thought it was just a dangerous area, but now we know it is a trap," Admiral Junho finished. "The question is, who built it and why?" Engineer Seok had been studying the weapon's structure with biosynthesist Wu. "Admiral, we think the weapon was built by a species that died out long ago. It was designed to destroy any advanced technology that entered their territory. The bioships triggered it because they registered as living technology, something the builders had never seen before." "Can we shut it down?" Junho asked. "Maybe," Seok replied, "but it would require a massive energy surge, more than our ships can produce safely. We would have to overload our fusion cores and create a controlled explosion." Commander Huan nodded grimly. "It could work, sir. If we detonate our fusion cores in the right sequence, we might be able to disrupt the weapon's power source, but we would lose most of our ships in the process," Junho said. The bridge was quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. The human fleet could destroy the weapon and save the Valeth, but it would cost them almost everything. "There has to be another way," Captain Bora said from the screen. "We cannot ask you to sacrifice your entire fleet for us." "You are not asking," Admiral Junho replied. "We are offering. The question is, can we save both fleets?" Dr. Hyun had been thinking about the problem from a different angle. "What if we do not try to destroy the weapon? What if we try to escape with it still active?" "The bio-ships cannot survive a jump through the anomaly," Minho said from his station. "We have already proven that." "Not with just biosystems, Doctor," Hyun agreed. "But what if we could modify the ships to handle human fusion energy? What if we could use our power cores to supercharge the bioships for one massive escape jump? Engineer Seok's eyes lit up with understanding. It might work. If we could connect our fusion cores directly to the bioship's navigation systems, we could give them enough power to punch through the anomaly. That is insane, biosynthesist Wu said. Biosystems are not designed to handle that much energy. It would be like asking a flower to survive being struck by lightning. Unless we prepare the flower first, Seok replied. Wu, you know biosystems better than anyone. Could we modify them to handle a massive energy surge? Wu thought carefully. It would require changing the basic structure of the biocircuits. We would have to grow new pathways in a matter of hours, something that normally takes months. But maybe, if we use human growth accelerators and biostimulants, Captain Bora looked uncertain. Even if the ships could survive the energy surge, how do we know the navigation systems would work? Valeth bio-navigation has never been tested with fusion power. Navigator Tay spoke up from her station. Captain, I have been working with Dr. Hyun to understand human navigation methods. Maybe we could create a hybrid system using both bio-navigation and human computers together. The risk is enormous, Admiral Junho said. If we fail, both fleets will be destroyed. If we do nothing, both fleets will be destroyed anyway, Commander Huan pointed out. At least this way we have a chance. Pilot Leah's voice came over the radio from the Morning Bloom. Admiral, I vote for the crazy plan. Sitting here waiting to die is not the human way. That got a few smiles, even in the tense situation. Leah was right. Humans did not give up without a fight. How long would we need to prepare? Junho asked. 12 hours minimum, Seok replied. Maybe 16 if we want to do it right. We do not have 16 hours, Minho said. The anomaly is accelerating. In 12 hours, several of our ships will be too weak to attempt any kind of jump. Then we work faster, Dr. Hyun said simply. We have humans and Valeth working together. Now, we can do things neither species could do alone. Admiral Junho made his decision. All ships begin preparations for emergency modification. We are going to try to supercharge the bioships and escape in one coordinated jump. The next 12 hours were the most intense of anyone's life. Human engineers and Valeth biosynthesists worked together to rebuild the bioships from the inside out. They had to create new energy pathways that could handle fusion power without burning out the living systems. On the Whispered Dawn, Dr. Hyun and Navigator Tay worked to combine human navigation computers with Valeth bio-navigation systems. It was like trying to teach a computer to have feelings, or teaching a living creature to think like a machine. The bio-navigation system reads energy flows in space, Tay explained as they worked. It feels the gravity wells of stars and the currents of cosmic radiation, but human computers calculate exact positions and trajectories. What if we use both at the same time? Dr. Hyun suggested. The biosystem could feel the best path and the computer could calculate the exact coordinates. It was a wild idea, but everything they were doing was wild. They were trying to combine two completely different ways of understanding the universe. Engineer Seok and biosynthesist Wu had the hardest job. They had to modify 12 different bioships to handle energy levels that would normally kill them. Each ship needed custom modifications based on its unique biology. We are asking the ships to do something they were never designed for, Wu said as they worked on the gentle current. It is like asking a bird to swim underwater. Birds can learn to swim if they have to, Seok replied, and these ships are tougher than they look. As the hours passed, both species pushed themselves beyond their limits. Humans worked with delicate biosystems that could die if handled roughly. Valeth worked with dangerous fusion technology that could explode if connected. Wrong, but somehow they made it work. Pilot Leah and her new Valeth partner Kang tested the modified flight systems on the Morning Bloom. The ship felt different now, More powerful but also more unstable. It is like riding a wild animal, Kang said nervously. That is the idea, Leah replied with a grin. Wild animals can run faster than tame ones. With 2 hours left before the deadline, Commander Juan made a disturbing discovery. The ancient weapon system was adapting to their presence. It was learning from their attempts to escape and changing its attack patterns. Admiral, he reported, the weapon is definitely artificial intelligence. It knows we are trying to escape and it is trying to stop us. This meant they would only get one chance. If their escape attempt failed, the weapon would be ready for any future attempts. No pressure, Pilot Leah muttered over the radio. Finally, with just minutes to spare, all 12 bioships reported ready for the escape attempt. The fusion cores were connected, the biosystems were modified, and the navigation systems were synchronized. All ships, this is Admiral Junho, he announced over the fleet-wide channel. In 60 seconds, we are going to attempt something that has never been tried before. We are going to trust each other, and we are going to go home together. Navigator Tay felt the bio-navigation system come alive with fusion power. It was like feeling the heartbeat of the universe itself. 30 seconds, Admiral Junho called out. On every ship, human and Valeth crew members worked together at their stations, ready to risk everything for each other. 10 seconds. The ancient weapon sensed what they were trying to do and unleashed its full power, trying to stop them. Jump! 12 bioships and 30 human vessels disappeared into hyperspace, powered by the combined hope and courage of two species who had learned to trust each other with their lives. The jump felt like being torn apart and put back together at the same time. Navigator Tay held on to her station as the whispered dawn flew through hyperspace faster than any bioship had ever gone before. The fusion-powered bio-navigation system showed her things she had never seen. Energy currents that flowed between galaxies, gravity wells that stretched across light years, the hidden structure of space itself. Jump complete, she called out as the ship dropped back into normal space. Around them, the other ships appeared one by one. The gentle current, morning bloom, soft voice, all 12 bioships had made it through. Behind them came the human fleet, their metal, ships gleaming in the light of nearby stars. But the escape had cost them. 3 human ships had been destroyed when the ancient weapon tried to stop their jump. The Defiant, Courageous, and Steadfast, and all the brave crew members on board, were gone. Admiral Junho's face was grim when he appeared on the communication screen. All ships, report status. One by one, the captains reported in. The bioships were badly damaged, but alive. Several human vessels had serious problems from the energy overload, but they were all free of the anomaly, free of the ancient death trap that had claimed so many ships over the centuries. We did it, Captain Bora said quietly. We actually did it. But even as they celebrated their escape, everyone knew they had lost good people. The 3 destroyed human ships had carried almost 1,000 crew members. They had died to save 50,000 Valeth strangers. Dr. Hyun, still on the bridge of the Whispered Dawn, felt tears in her eyes. She had worked with some of those lost crew members. They had been good people, brave people, who had volunteered to risk everything for others. Admiral, Captain Bora said over the communication channel, your people died for us. We will never forget that sacrifice. They died doing what humans do best, Admiral Junho replied. They died protecting others. That is an honor, not a tragedy. Over the next few days, both fleets worked together to repair the damage from their escape. The bioships needed time to recover from the massive energy surge they had endured. The human ships needed new parts and systems to replace what had been damaged. Engineer Seok and biosynthesist Wu continued working together, now as close friends rather than strangers. They had learned so much from each other during the crisis. Look at this, Wu said, showing Seok a new biocircuit design. By combining your engineering principles with our biological methods, we can create systems that are both strong and alive. Seok studied the design with admiration. It is beautiful. Your people and my people. We think about problems in completely different ways. But when we work together, we can solve problems that neither of us could solve alone, Wu finished. Pilot Leah had become best friends with her Valeth partner, Kang. She had taught him how to fly with human-style courage and determination, while he had taught her how to feel the flow of energy through space the way Valeth pilots did. You know, Leah said as they practiced flying together, I think I like bioships better than metal ships. They feel alive under your hands. And I like human navigation computers, Kang replied. They show you exactly where you are going, not just where you feel like you should go. All across both fleets, humans and Valeth were learning from each other. Human doctors worked with Valeth healers to develop new medical techniques. Valeth scientists shared their knowledge of biological systems with human researchers. The crisis that had nearly destroyed them was turning into the beginning of something wonderful. Dr. Hyun and Navigator Tae spent long hours talking about their different ways of understanding the universe. The Valeth saw space as a living thing, full of energy and consciousness. Humans saw it as a machine that could be understood and controlled. Maybe we are both right, Dr. Hyun suggested. Maybe the universe is both alive and mechanical at the same time. That would explain a lot, Tae agreed. It would explain why our bio-navigation works, and why your computers work too. Captain Bora and Admiral Junho met in person for the first time when the human admiral visited the Whispered Dawn. Walking through the living corridors of the bioship, Junho was amazed by what the Valeth had created. Your ships are incredible, he told Bora. They are like nothing humans have ever built. Your ships saved our lives, Bora replied. They are strong in ways that ours are not. They walked together to the ship's garden, a large room where plants and biocircuits grew together in beautiful patterns. It was a peaceful place, very different from the metal corridors of human ships. Admiral, Bora said, what happens now? Our two species have found each other in the vastness of space. Do we go our separate ways? Junho smiled. I hope not, Captain. I think our people have a lot to learn from each other. That conversation led to formal meetings between the leaders of both species. Within weeks, they had established the first Human-Valeth Cooperation Treaty. Both species would share their knowledge and work together to explore the galaxy. Engineer Seok and biosynthesist Wu were chosen to lead the first joint research project. They would design new ships that combined the best of both technologies, human strength and reliability, with Valeth elegance and biological efficiency. We will call them biomechanical ships, Wu suggested. Ships that are both alive and machine. I like that, Seok agreed. Ships that can think and feel, but also fight and survive. Pilot Leah and Kang became the first human Valeth flight team, testing new piloting techniques that combined human courage with Valeth intuition. Their success led to the creation of mixed crews on ships throughout both fleets. Dr. Hyun established the first interspecies medical exchange, bringing together human doctors and Valeth healers to develop new treatments that worked for both species. Commander Hwan created the first joint military academy, where humans and Valeth would train together to defend against threats like the ancient weapon they had escaped. But the most important change was in how both species saw themselves and each other. The Valeth learned that peaceful people could also be strong and brave when they needed to be. The humans learned that strength did not always mean weapons and armor. Sometimes it meant growing something beautiful instead of building something tough. Navigator Tae summed it up best during a joint ceremony to honor the human crew members who had died saving the Valeth fleet. Before we met the humans, she said, we thought that our way of living was the only good way. We thought that anyone who built metal ships and carried weapons must be violent and cruel. We were wrong. She looked out at the mixed crowd of humans and Valeth. The humans taught us that sometimes you have to fight to protect what you love, that sometimes you have to be willing to sacrifice everything to save others. They showed us that strength and gentleness can exist in the same heart. Admiral Junho spoke next. The Valeth taught us something just as important. They showed us that there are other ways to solve problems besides fighting and forcing. They taught us that growing something is often better than building it. They reminded us that the universe is not just a machine to be conquered, but a living thing to be respected. The ceremony ended with both fleets launching together toward a new star system, ready to explore it as partners instead of strangers. Years later, when historians looked back at the moment when humans and Valeth first met, they would call it the beginning of the golden age of cooperation. It was the time when two very different species learned that their differences made them stronger, not weaker. The ancient weapon that had tried to destroy them both had instead brought them together. From the darkness of that energy storm had come light, the light of friendship between the stars. And in the ship registries of both species, certain names were never forgotten: the defiant, courageous, and steadfast, and the 1,000 human crew members who had died to save 50,000. Strangers. Their sacrifice had not just saved lives, it had changed the galaxy forever. In the end, that was the most human thing of all, dying for people you had never met, so that the future could be better than the past.